Hello, kids. Linguist Squirrel here to teach you another word. Today we are learning the word weakness. Now, weakness is something which is either hard to move or hard to defend, or ideally, if it's your opponent who has the weakness, both hard to move and hard to defend. So, have a look at our first example. Black has a very, very clear and big weakness right here on D6. This pawn can't move very well because white has the square in front of it attacked twice already. And it's also not easy for black to defend it. His bishop's the wrong color to defend it. His king's too far away. And this rook is not a very active piece. It can't move very easily. So right here, white could just attack that weakness. Black defends it with the one piece he can, attack it again, and white's simply going to gang up and capture that weakness. Okay? Compare that to this next situation. Same undefended pawn on d6, but is it a weakness because it's undefended? Absolutely not. In this position, black has two pawns controlling the square in front of it, so that means the pawn could move easily. Also, it doesn't have a doubled pawn behind it, so black can defend it with his rook from behind. Also, it's on the same color as this bishop, so the bishop could defend it in either of these two ways. So if white goes here trying to capture this pawn, he is not going to be able to catch this guy, right? This slippery guy can just slip right on off like this, or he could just stay there for a while to laugh at the white rooks while the bishop defends him. So that is why you try to attack weaknesses, and you don't try to attack things which aren't weaknesses, and it's important to know what weaknesses are. Okay, now a weakness can be something specific, like one exact thing. It can be a pawn, or a piece, or a square, or it could be something more general, like a weak pawn formation, a side of the board that lacks space, or an exposed king. So have a look at this position here. Black doesn't have just one pawn here or something like that that's a weakness. Black's weakness here is that in general, there's not enough pieces defending his king. And so the strategy for white here would be to attack the black king. Or consider this other situation. Again, you might think with kings on opposite sides that you want to attack the king, but consider this for a moment. Let's say that magically you imagined all the pieces being traded off, right? So I take off the queens, and I take off the rooks, then I take off the knights, and then I take off the bishops. What do you notice about black's pawn structure? Well, it's not very good at making a passed pawn, right? Black has a bad pawn structure for the endgame here, and white has a nice pawn structure for the endgame with these passed pawns. So if you go back to the full position again, you see that here you could notice, okay, black has a weakness in their pawn formation. That means it's hard for them to make passed pawns in endgames. And so that's a certain strategy can be applied to the game based upon that weakness. All right, if you found this interesting, you should check out two videos in the What to Do series, which are Attacking Weakness and the Attacking Weakness Quiz. All right, that's it for now from Linguist Squirrel. Have a great day.